video about driving the Nissan Leaf 2012 3 kilowatt charging version in the icy cold snow. I should correct that, there's no ice, but it is cold today, 19 degrees Fahrenheit, which is minus 7 degrees Celsius. I don't know what the humidity is, but I have the seat heater on down here, which actually I can't keep it on high because it's too hot. And we're just driving along. We do not have snow tires, which I know is a blasphemy for many of you, especially in Europe where it's legal. We don't really drive. I don't really drive this car when there's a ton of snow. But just to show you that, in fact, an electric car in the cold, I mean, you know, it's all relative. If you're in England, this is like, you know, minus 7 degrees Celsius in southern England anyway, or whatever. Is freezing, absolutely the coldest I'll ever get. Probably doesn't get that cold. Obviously, if you're in Canada, you know, they go to, what is it, minus Fahrenheit, which is, you know, minus 20, minus 30. As far as the range goes, yeah. I have probably limited range. It says I have 80 miles, which is probably not true. I have about 75 miles of usable range on this 2012. It has a new battery pack, 2015 Lizard battery pack, but it has a bit of degraded capacity, about 10%. But it's perfectly fine for tooling around town. Okay, you're not going to get 300 miles. You're not going to be able to, you know, do a massive, you know, trip. I think when it gets really cold, you're going to get quite a lot of, you know, degradation. But for someone who wants a car, two-car family, you want a two-car person family, you have a car for the snow, and then you want another car just to tootle around with. An electric car, even a cheap $5,000, if you can get one, a Nissan Leaf would be perfectly acceptable, even in a cold, somewhat colder climate like Colorado. We're here in the front range of Colorado, north of Denver. Be totally acceptable. You would probably want to put some snow tires on, as does every single person who is driving a lot around in the snow. I do have it in eco mode. When you have it in the regular other mode, the normal drive mode, the acceleration is crazy. The wheels will just spin with traction control. So if you put it in eco mode, it helps you when you're pulling off. I can't comment on the ice. Obviously, I don't have snow tires on here, and if it was icy out, I would not drive this car around, whatever car it was. It didn't have snow tires on. But perfectly acceptable. Plenty of range for tootling around town, and I would say a no-brainer, as you Americans say, regarding the warming and cooling. Getting back to my rant here, regarding the car, the heating options. This has resistive heating, which means there's a coil in there that has to heat up, which takes a ton of energy from the battery. Which, again, I mean, I have resistive heating, and I heated this car up. I actually heated it when it was charging, but then again, it works fine. It can take up to like 20 miles off your range if you're really blasting like 4 kilowatts worth of like heating energy. But then again, you know, it's a $5,000, $5,000 car with, you know, resistive heating element. I think the one that has the heat pump doesn't use as much. But you can, you know, if you have the app, which I don't, because my 3G, 4G, 2G is not up to date, and I don't want to pay $700 to update it. If you have the app, you can indeed do your remote starting and your remote heating and all this nice stuff that comes kind of built in. You know, normally you have to pay a couple $100 to add that to a vehicle. And you can have it in your garage. So in other words, if you have your car in your garage is not heated. You cannot use with an internal combustion engine. You can't really, you know, run your car in the garage, can you? Because you're gonna like carbon monoxide yourself to death when you get in there. With electric car, you can. So I just put the auto, you know, I turn the car on, put the auto temperature up to whatever, and it just heats up really nicely. So you get into a warm car, and then it has some crazy stuff, obviously, like the heated steering wheel, and it has the heated seats, which are, I mean, I've always had heated seats in my Audis, so I'm pretty used to that, which are really, really help you. Perfectly acceptable vehicle, drive around, it's 20 degrees now, perfectly acceptable, go for it.